It was an ordinary Tuesday evening in the city of Westfield, a place with quiet charm and its own small-town vibe despite being just an hour outside New York. Emily, now 29, and her younger sister Sarah, 27, had always been close. They were raised in a modest home, and despite their differences, their bond had remained unbreakable. Emily, the more introverted one, had always been the responsible sister, while Sarah was the adventurous, carefree spirit who never hesitated to push boundaries. It had always been that way, but that evening, something felt different. Sarah had invited Emily to their favorite cafe, the Blue Rose, a cozy spot known for its warm atmosphere and delicious coffee. They'd spent countless afternoons there, talking about everything and nothing. But tonight, there was an unusual tension in the air. Emily couldn't quite place it, but she felt like Sarah was hiding something. When Emily arrived, Sarah was already there, sitting at their usual table by the window, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. She looked up and gave Emily a faint smile, but there was a distance in her eyes that Emily hadn't noticed before. "Hey, Em," Sarah said softly, her voice a little off. "I've been thinking a lot lately, about us, about everything." Emily raised an eyebrow, sensing the seriousness in her sister's tone. "What's going on? You've been quiet lately. What's bothering you?" Sarah hesitated for a moment, then met Emily's gaze. "I'm seeing someone," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Emily blinked, taken aback. Sarah had always been open about her relationships, but this was different. There was a level of uncertainty in Sarah's voice that made Emily uneasy. "Who is it? Tell me everything," Emily urged, trying to mask her growing concern. She wasn't sure why, but she could tell this conversation was going to change everything. Sarah took a deep breath, her fingers tightening around the cup. "Her name is Jessica. We've been seeing each other for a few months now. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to hurt you. But I think you deserve to know." Emily's heart dropped. Jessica was a name she recognized well. Jessica was their mutual friend, someone who had always been a part of their circle. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. The woman her sister had been confiding in, laughing with, was now the one who had become a secret lover. "I'm sorry, Em. I didn't want to lie to you, but I didn't know how to tell you this," Sarah continued, her voice trembling slightly. Emily felt a whirlwind of emotions. Betrayal, confusion, and somewhere deep down, a strange sense of understanding. She loved Sarah, but the idea of Jessica being involved in something like this, something so forbidden, hurt more than she expected. "But why?" Emily asked, her voice thick with emotion. "Why Jessica? You know this isn't just a casual thing, right? This is serious." Sarah's gaze softened. "I know. But, you know how I've always struggled with being normal. I wanted something real, something no one else could understand. And Jessica, she feels the same way." Emily's mind raced. What was happening between her sister and Jessica? What had she missed? How had their friendship turned into this tangled mess of emotions and deceit? "I need some time to process this," Emily said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. I never imagined this could happen. But I can't hate you for it. I just need time." Sarah nodded silently, tears welling up in her eyes. She understood. But what neither of them knew was that this conversation would change their relationship forever. It wasn't just about Sarah's secret, it was about Emily confronting her own buried feelings, about trust, loyalty, and the complexity of love. As they sat in silence, the warm glow of the cafe seemed to mock the growing tension between them. Their bond, once unshakable, was now uncertain, fragile. Both women knew that whatever happened next, they would have to face the truth, no matter how painful. The following weeks were a blur of confusion and unanswered questions for Emily. She couldn't get the image of Sarah's confession out of her mind. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the shock of how something so deeply personal had been hidden for so long. She had always believed that she and Sarah shared everything, but now, Emily felt like an outsider in her sister's life. They still met at the cafe, but the light-hearted conversations they used to share were replaced with long pauses and strained smiles. Sarah tried to explain herself, but Emily wasn't ready to hear it. She wasn't ready to understand why Sarah had kept something so important from her. Every time Jessica's name was mentioned, Emily's heart would sink a little lower. But then came the night when everything changed. It was a chilly Friday evening when Emily received a message from Jessica. It was a simple text, "Can we talk?" Emily wasn't sure what to expect, but her curiosity outweighed the anger she still felt. She agreed to meet Jessica at the same cafe where everything had started to unravel. She had no idea that this meeting would uncover truths that would shake her to the core. When Emily arrived, Jessica was already there, sitting alone at a corner table, her face unreadable. Jessica had always been the charming, confident one, always the center of attention, always with a smile that could disarm anyone. But now, as she looked up at Emily, there was something different about her. She looked tired, conflicted. "Emily," Jessica said quietly, standing as Emily approached. "Thank you for meeting me. Let's get this over with," Emily replied, her tone sharp. "I don't know what you want to say, but I need answers." Jessica nodded, sitting back down and gesturing for Emily to join her. "I know this is hard for you. Believe me, I never wanted to hurt you or Sarah. I never thought it would come to this." Emily stared at her, her emotions rising again. "Then why did you do it? Why did you get involved with her, knowing how much it would hurt us? You're supposed to be our friend." Jessica took a deep breath, her eyes avoiding Emily's. "I never planned for it to happen. But somewhere along the way, I realized I was falling for her. It wasn't just about the physical attraction, it was something deeper. She made me feel alive in a way no one ever had. And I know it sounds selfish, but I didn't know how to stop it." Emily's heart pounded as she processed Jessica's words. She wasn't sure whether to feel angry or sorry for her. All she knew was that the pain of betrayal was still fresh, and hearing Jessica's confession only made it worse. "I get it," Emily said after a long silence. "But it's not just about you. This is about me and Sarah. About everything we've been through together. You can't just throw that away for something you feel." Jessica's gaze softened, and she reached out, placing her hand on the table. "I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I just needed you to know the truth. You deserve to hear it from me." Emily was silent for a moment, the weight of everything finally sinking in. "You've hurt us both," she said softly. "But you're right about one thing. I needed to hear it from you." The conversation ended soon after, with no clear resolution. But Emily left the cafe with a heaviness in her chest, unsure of what came next. All she knew was that the path ahead would be complicated, full of tangled emotions, hurt, and a bond that might never be the same again. The next few weeks felt like a battle for Emily's heart and mind. She tried to avoid Sarah, unsure of how to face her sister after everything that had come to light. It wasn't just about Sarah's relationship with Jessica, it was about the trust that had been broken between them. Emily had always seen Sarah as someone she could turn to in moments of weakness, but now that foundation felt shaky. However, the universe had a way of forcing their paths to cross. One evening, Sarah showed up at Emily's apartment. No text. No warning. She just stood there at the door, looking like a lost child in need of comfort. "Can we talk?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling. Emily didn't answer right away. She just stepped aside, silently inviting her in. As Sarah entered, the two women stood in the middle of the living room, a chasm of silence between them. "I don't know what to say anymore," Sarah whispered, sitting down on the couch. "I never meant to hurt you, Emily. I never thought it would turn into this. But I think about Jessica every day now, and I can't pretend it didn't happen." Emily took a deep breath, fighting the urge to let her anger take over. She wanted to scream, to throw everything in Sarah's face, but she knew it wouldn't fix anything. "I know you didn't plan for this, Sarah," Emily replied, her voice steady but raw. "But that's the problem. You didn't think. And now, look where we are. I don't know how to forgive you for this. I don't even know if I can." Sarah's eyes filled with tears as she reached for Emily's hand. "I'm so sorry. I wish I could take it back. I know you feel betrayed, but I've never loved anyone the way I love you, Emily. You're my sister, and I'll always be here for you, no matter what." The words hung in the air like a lifeline, but Emily wasn't ready to grab it. There was too much hurt, too much distance between them. "I don't know if I can trust you again, Sarah." "It's going to take time," Emily said quietly, pulling her hand away. "But I'm willing to try." For the first time in weeks, the sisters found a fragile peace. The road ahead wasn't clear, and they both knew it would take a lot of work to rebuild the trust they had lost. But Emily also knew that their bond, though scarred, wasn't beyond repair. It would never be the same, but perhaps that was what they both needed: a new beginning, built on honesty and the painful lessons of betrayal. As for Jessica, she continued to stay in the background, offering no more apologies. She had made her choices, and now she would have to live with them. Emily wasn't sure where their relationship stood, but she knew one thing for sure: there was a certain peace in letting go of someone who had hurt her. In the end, Emily and Sarah would continue their journey together, though it was a quieter, more cautious path. They both knew that life had a way of testing even the strongest bonds, but if they could make it through this, maybe there was still hope for a future where trust could be rebuilt.